everyone, thanks so much for joining me. We're gonna work on Warrior 1 today, and as well as some of the poses that fall into the same family category as Warrior 1, being a hip stabilizer. So hopefully I'll get to all these. So Warrior 1, Revolved Reverse Warrior 1, I'm not sure if that's really the name of it, but hopefully it'll make sense when we're in it, and Revolved Reverse Triangle, Revolved Triangle, probably not half moon, revolved half moon, but we'll see, and also just visiting through pyramid pose. I don't think in that order, but hopefully we'll get through all those. So you'll may want a couple of blocks and a strap. So let's get started. Warrior 1. All right, the first thing that we'll do with the block is just in more of a mountain pose stance, place the block between your thighs. You choose, the right width for you, okay? But this is just to give you some reference for the inner thighs, which can tend to check out in these hip stabilizer poses. So this is just to give you that reference. Okay, so all the toes pointing forward, lift the toes, root across your feet, and feel how that inner thigh engagement assists the lengthening of your torso. Okay, so just getting with that familiarity with that sensation, and then we'll pretend we're still using the block, but we won't be. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put the block to the side and just set up for Warrior 1. I'm going to turn this way just so you can see the setup a little bit better. So your front foot, the toes will be pointing forward. Your back foot, the toes will be pointing some degree out to the side, 30 to 45 degrees. And you want to make sure that your ankle is okay with this. Shoulders and hips both mostly square, okay, to the front edge of your mat. Bending and straightening and finding that right distance that when you bend your front knee, it'll land over your heel. Okay, at any time in this, if you fatigue, you can straighten the leg, you can step out, step back in. Okay, so you don't have to stay in it as long as I talk. Okay, so anyway, so we're gonna find that right placement. And then for a lot of people, well, number one, you don't want to feel wobbly. Okay, so you find not only the right length, but your right distance between the feet, okay? But then the first thing that many people are distracted by is the calf, okay? Feeling overstretched or tense or something. So what I like to do here is, it's like wringing out a towel, okay? So your back thigh is gonna turn in toward the midline, and you wanna pull it up into the hip joint. You want to do the opposite with the shin. You want to turn the shin in the opposite direction, and you'll know that you have that right amount for the internal and external rotation because you'll feel a lengthening in your body and your glutes may engage. Okay, hopefully. They engage enough to support the lift. Pretend you're squeezing a block between your inner thighs, lengthening the torso, using your hands potentially to lift the low belly. So we don't want to feel overstretch in the groin. We still need, that's why we did that adjustment of the thigh bone being pulled back into the hip joint and that little internal rotation, external rotation of the shin, again lengthening. And then something else I like to do for the upper body is to take the hands behind the head, okay? Elbows forward, head of the arm bones back, tuck of the chin, lengthening, okay, the torso, and then as you have this, gentle counter resistance of your head into your hands, hands to head, okay, and hopefully that enhances the lengthening. You might be able to create more distance between your feet, deepening the position, okay, and feeling your side muscles engaged, because you want those engaged as you reach the arms overhead. So we'll revisit that in just a second. And your hands can be apart, okay, not touching. You could bring the hands together, you could clasp them. I like to clasp because it gives me a little bit more leverage to lift up. All right, so if that wasn't already too long, we're gonna change out and switch sides. So with your front knee bent, just swivel on the back foot, kind of push, okay, and step your foot forward. Shake it out. You'll have a ton of effort. in the seat, thigh muscles, okay, in different ways because they were doing different types of work. And then we'll do the other side. So warrior one again, and the front foot, hopefully, I think I'm switching legs. I turn around and get confused. Okay, so anyway, your front toes pointing forward, your back foot having some sort of turnout that works for your ankle. You're testing out the length. Okay, if I bend too far and I haven't really organized, I start to get a little annoyance here in the ankle, okay? So I'm just gonna find that right position, even tweak it in the middle of the pose if I need to, okay? Root across your feet as evenly as you can and feel the energy, the engagement coming up your body, okay? And then again, pretending, we'll ultimately get to that sense of pretending we have a block between our inner thighs. I can't remember if I said that on the first side, but that's why we're doing all of this little tweaks, okay? So that back leg gets an internal rotation at the thigh bone and we're drawing it up into the hip joint. The shin does the opposite. You might even feel this. It centers the knee and then allows the knee to lift up. And that's what pulls some of that tension out of the calf. Probably some of it's still there, but it's a shared load now, not isolated in the calf muscle, okay? So shoulders and hips mostly square. We're not looking for perfection. You're looking for space in the joints, okay? Engagement in the muscles, length in the spine, maybe deepening the bend, okay? So I'm just reaffirming as I'm in it, using hands to lengthen, engaging my inner thighs as though I'm hugging a block, but not locking it to where I would feel a pinch anywhere, okay? Potentially, I really like this little setup for counter resistance. We bring the elbows forward because that allows the head of the arm bones to go back into the shoulders. When they go out to the side, it tends to challenge the shoulder joint. We can't get them, the head of the arm bones grounded. So with the elbows forward, the head of the arm bones can go back into the shoulder joints, and we need to tuck the chin just so we don't stress the neck, okay? And then pressing the back of the head into the hands into the head, you might feel you've got more length, more engagement. You might need more distance between the feet lengthwise, okay? And breathe into this. As you're ready, adding the arms. Okay, smooth, deep breaths. And then we're going to straighten the leg, releasing the arms. Okay, so we're going to just step out of this, and then I'm just going to visit those other poses. Not a ton of instruction with them. Okay, all right, so we're going to step out carefully, shake out the legs, really check in, make sure you feel good. I just want to show you how one relates to the next, okay? So, yeah, I think I switched feet in between. You'd think it would be obvious, and somehow when I turn around, it gets confusing. I don't know. Anyway, so setting up for warrior one, and just to visit through these poses. So here's warrior one, okay? And here's what I call that revolved reverse warrior, okay? So still trying to keep the channels of the hips open, still feeling like I'm engaging my inner thighs, lengthening my spine, maybe adding a back bend because I love that sensation and I feel more juiciness in the pose. And so this is the revolved reverse warrior. This is revolved reverse triangle. Just the difference is straightening the leg. Okay, lengthening. Either way, now I'm going to segue into a version of pyramid pose. It has many variations with the arms, and it might even have a slightly shorter stance, okay? You could have your hands here, back behind you. Most importantly, the legs are organized, knees centered, everything similar to warrior one, okay? Lengthening and just taking it into a forward fold. Some degree of a forward fold, okay? So that's that. This goes into revolved triangle. So you potentially could have a block here, or you could have your hand at your leg. This hand going back here because I'm looking to still keep the hips level as I turn. What's nice is when you have the wall, you can really use it, okay, for some leverage and length. Okay, hopefully my hips are still level, or mostly level. Okay, I could take it deeper, but not necessary. All right, and then from there it goes into revolve, maybe, okay, revolved half moon. It just keeping hips level, lengthening, and still, so here's the challenge. Can I keep my hips level and turn my spine? You know, just that revolve, that twisting, okay, and keeping the hips level. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but they all relate to each other. They're all hip stabilizers versus hip openers, so the Warrior 2 family. Harder for me, okay? The Warrior 1, the hip stabilizers are always much harder for me than the Warrior 2 hip opener poses. It's just my work. You might find it opposite, where these are easier than Warrior 2. So I hope this was helpful. I really like this thing, okay, to do that, to explore that in Warrior 1 for that length in the spine. So let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this and that it's helpful and that I hear from you soon. Thank you. Namaste.